Oh, recording in progress. Sorry.
Yeah.
I always bring that up, dude, because we're recording already. But the voice that everybody has on all their stories now and posts on Instagram, where it's that girl,
Yeah.
it's
The
like this.
robotic reading their captions.
There we go. There we go. Yeah. So welcome everybody, Supreme Being. I'm bringing an old guest, Drew, who's a part of Team
What up?
BC
What up?
for episode number 2 with him. Shout out to Team BC. We love you guys worldwide, nationwide. Well, we're not worldwide yet, but we will be soon. Modern Success, right? Coaching program and everything else. The Primal Code, which is an event I'm going to be doing the 25th and 26th live and online, and it will be recorded. You guys can check that out also on my website, briancasella.com. So, Drew, you're back in Illinois. Welcome, man.
Yes, sir. Back in it's like in the 40s right now, but I think the low is supposed to be like 27 tonight. But yes, as always, pleasure to be here. I'm inside, so I'm nice and warm.
So, let's talk about it, man. Especially recently, you've gotten like 3 or 4 listings in the last like week.
Yeah. So 3 listings in the last week, and the 4th one, the appointment is on Tuesday when I get back. So I'll be getting back early, and then the appointment's that afternoon.
So wait a minute. Nobody buys and sells during the holidays. How are you getting listings?
Yeah, I mean, it must be a Florida thing, because from what I understand, nobody moves this time of year. Statistically speaking, it just doesn't happen.
It's funny. Now, I want to bring that up because are you getting that objection from people or no?
So honestly, not recently. However, when I first started on the team, actually the very first listing I took was because she was bound and determined to find someone that was confident that they could sell this time of year, because she was a firm believer that people didn't buy and sell this time of year. So I reassured her with some of the things that you told me that was just not true, and we ended up selling her house in December last year. So I haven't heard much about it since then. Honestly, I've just been grinding as usual.
Love it, man. So what were the sources of those listings?
Right. So one of them, I want to say it was luck, but I put in a lot of doors last year. And so it was basically just a cold lead from last year's door knocking. I would follow up a few times a year, but nothing crazy. And things just happened to where they were looking to move down south. And so that was a cold door knocking lead. But I actually met them in person last year, and they just called me back from a business card that I gave them.
Nice.
But the others are all from cold calling. Circle prospecting around, one of them was circle prospecting around a listing that I had coming up. And then the other 2 were just listed, just sold, that type of thing. Cold calls.
Very cool. So pretty much like you mentioned, 1 year since you joined the team, basically.
Yeah.
And when did we do our last episode? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head. It's been some months for sure. I mean, it was probably 6 months ago, maybe 5, 6 months ago, maybe.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit, dude, because it's been about a year since you joined the team, and
yeah,
you've been rocking and rolling. Can you talk a little bit about like maybe what's changed the most for you? We'll start with that over the last like 12 months.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot, honestly. I talk about it every day. Every day I'm around somebody that hasn't been around me in a while. It's always like shock and awe. Just the things that I'm like more focused on now. So I would say my attention has shifted a lot to the things that are I'm being more intentional, I feel, with just everything that I do. I used to let a lot of things kind of like distract me, and now I'm pretty laser focused on like just the select few tasks that need to be mastered in order to be successful in the business.
Yeah.
So one of the things primarily is just kind of eliminating some of that white noise, some of just the things that you might distract yourself with that aren't really important. So even though it does feel like an episode of SpongeBob where all I know is fine dining and breathing, really I would just say that the main thing that's changed for me, aside from getting experience from actually having people trust me to work with me, buying, selling, etc. With all of these things that I'm mentioning comes confidence. And that's something that I've struggled with, embarrassingly, like a lot, even before just joining Modern Success. I know that I joined Modern Success right before joining the team. Just being around so many positive people with like everyone has the same goal pretty much in mind. And so really surrounding myself with just a lot of winners, honestly, has made me feel like I can do that too.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I was going to mention too, is you seem a lot more like laser focused now. It's like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and that's it. And even like
Yeah.
with your workouts, you've been really consistent. You've been hitting the bike and the Stairmaster, right? I've been seeing
Yeah.
how it basically looks like it had a Florida thunderstorm over it, when you're done, because it's so wet. But
Oh yeah. Yep. And that part of that too is just like not being afraid to take on like more challenges, right? So like I already thought that my gym routine was pretty strict. Like I was going, very religiously. I'm like beating myself up in the gym every time I'm here, trying to get back in like tip top shape. And this program that I started, 75 Hard, like in the middle of all of this stuff that, we as Team BC, we do a lot of things that require you to have a pretty strict schedule and make sure that you're taking care of business. And so, now I need to get a whole nother workout in. And there's a lot of other tasks that come along with that program. So just not being afraid to challenge myself too. I mean, that helps me focus on the things that need done instead of the things that you tell yourself that you could do. Like just prioritization, I guess, is very different for me lately.
yeah, I love it. So how do you see your business evolving? Because now you're actually putting a lot more transactions together. What is the next kind of thing or two that you need to do look like?
Yeah. So I'm getting really good at prospecting. Honestly, I could say one of the things that needs to, and not change, it's getting better every day. I need more discipline. That's for sure. I'll be the first to point that out. Like, I'm the kind of person that like a couple of weeks ago, I made, 2,500 calls. And then this last week I made under 2,000. And it was kind of like, even though it's still a lot, right? Like I need to be real with myself that these results, like the business is very cyclical. And so I know that if I don't keep the same amount of things going in, the same amount coming out will not be the same. So being even more focused, I think, is a very big goal for me. Um, Also, I think just more business, just volume, honestly, scaling. That's something that's very important for me. And in order to do that, I mean, I need more discipline just because if you scale and you have no discipline, then you're going to be even more out of control than had you have not. So I guess scaling is the biggest thing for me. I do want to start owning my own properties here in the near future, but um, that's all going to come in time. I think the biggest thing for me, even though I'm doing well right now, is to just get better, just keep getting better. Really, since meeting you, I think my attention to like just seeking mastery, whatever whatever I can be better in, I'm just kind of obsessed with that lately, just trying to get better.
Love it, man. You ever see yourself maybe going towards a niche later, like luxury, or I'm only going to do condos, or I'm only going to focus on $1 million properties or whatever it is? You ever see yourself going any of those directions?
Uh, Honestly, no, I don't think so. Um, maybe one day it'll like present itself to me. But as of right now, I I have a lot of fun building relationships with everyone. So, and I've also had experience in the last year from, because I'm a big believer in like giving someone all of me, like just being super genuine and giving them the best possible experience that they can receive from me. And so like I I feel like I'm just like too open right now. Like I feel like I'm too, maybe it's like me being fresh still, but like if someone came to me that was like, the $200,000 customer versus like the $1 million, I feel like I'd still treat that person the same. So as of now, no. I'm obviously, if I did luxury, that would be pretty ballin', go out to Tampa and sell. I think that would be a cool gig if I was out in Tampa selling to like people in like the Davis Island, Hyde Park, like the multi-million-dollar properties out there. I think that would be dope because just the same as like Lakeland, you're gonna have all different types of people out there. It's just the fact that like there's more money out there. So I mean, why wouldn't you want to make more money? And relationships are all, for the most part, interchangeable.
Yeah. Now, one thing that you've really been focused on for sure has been the listing side, right? Like
Yeah, for
1,000%.
sure.
Um, Was that a thing that you did from the beginning? I know you joined the team pretty early on, but was there
Yeah.
ever any kind of like rust you had to shake off in regards to buyers, or was it always like, hey, I'm going after listings and that's it?
So when I joined your team, I was, very raw, very early still, because I didn't, even though I was in the business for a few months prior to that, I didn't feel like I had many reps in. And the people that I was working with, people I was working with before, their only source of business really was like realtor.com leads. So all they ever did was work with buyers. And that's all I ever saw was people just like going and showing and being all crazy. And then I read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And then not long after that, met you. And pretty much all of my behavior started shifting towards getting listings, because just knowing that that's like a shorter route to more business. I mean, from everything that you teach and everything that that book was about, listings are leverage. So it's not to say that we won't work with buyers. It's just that you will produce buyer leads from listings, which, by the way, in this market, which is a strong seller's market, why wouldn't you want to be the one that has all of the leverage instead of the 20, 30 buyers that are all scratching to get in that listing?
Yeah, for real. It's like piranhas, right?
Yeah.
Some of the shifts that you've had in regards to like specifically like, going on these appointments and just nailing them, right? Because now whether it's you or most people on the team now, it's like, hey, I'm going on these appointments, but I already got the listing, right? There's just another level of like assurance and confidence there. So if you compare like a listing appointment you do now to like a year ago, what do you think have been some of like the biggest changes?
Confidence, bro. Honestly, just it's one thing to go into an appointment and, like what you say, create it until you make it. Because we leverage the team pretty heavily when if you don't have success, if you don't have sales, um, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there's something convincing about saying, yeah, that house down there on Birds Crossing, I was able to get 30,000 over the asking price, and we had 60 showings in 48 hours, and little things that, like, I know I did that, so I'm able to say it with such conviction at the appointment that it's like so believable. Another thing that's changed for me is, when you start and someone gives you all these scripts, hot market script, just listed, just sold, expired, FISBO, listing presentation. Me being, I try to be as analytical as I can. I was trying to memorize like all of them at once. And so I found myself kind of either not remembering or fumbling over like making sure that it was perfect. And now my focus is on reading them, like reading their body language, reading their tone, their rate of speech, just like everything about body language. So that way I can like play into how I'm going to go about each presentation. So each presentation is very much similar.
Yeah.
However, I'm able to then spin it if the person has this personality type, this personality type. So it's not so much anymore worrying about what's going to come out. It's what version of it this person needs to hear for this to be easier for me. And so I'm able to kind of very quickly get into that appointment and set up shop to where I'm automatically like, okay, like this is the route that it's going to go. This is the performance that I need to put on so that this is just like cake. And the last several have all been pretty much that way, a little bit of rapport. That's a huge thing for me. I'm able to get into rapport very quickly with a lot of these people, it seems. And then from then on, I do very well at future pacing. I do very well at leading conversations in those moments. Overall, I think I could account that to like my confidence in general, just because everything that comes out is like, it's true.
Right. So it sounds like, in summary, confidence and then your communication skills have just skyrocketed, and that really has facilitated, the acquisition of listings. And so regularly and so confidently too, because now I'm sure when you set an appointment, you're like, I got this thing in the bag, versus before it might have been like, oh shit, I got to get ready,
Dude. So you wouldn't even believe. So some days I would like prepare for hours, like for an appointment. Like,
wow.
I would, I would prospect a little bit to try and get some of the shake the dust off, like to make sure that almost like you would do like a vocalization practice before you sing. I try and kick some of the rust off before I would go to the appointment, but majority of the time before the appointment was spent just analyzing comps, analyzing the presentation itself, analyzing their house. So that way, if they were questioning me, I was like way over prepared, and it would impress them with my knowledge of the things that they would ask. And so now I I don't, I mean, I do analyze all the stuff really, but it's not so much about the comps. It's not so much about like the things leading up to, it's really just like going in there with confidence. So one of the biggest things about that, honestly, is just like, um, obviously your mentorship and just being around the team. Um, I will say that since the last, we do these masterminds with Team BC. We get together a couple times a year and we have this really intense training, and it exposes the people on the team that haven't been doing certain things, and not in a negative way, but to push them to be better. So I don't know if you remember or not, but the last time that we had a mastermind, one of my vulnerabilities was role playing. I didn't take it seriously, and since then I've been role playing at least 6, 7 times a week, and that also has helped me a ton. So I can't forget that. Shout out, Christian, Brett, and John, and Craig, and all the people that I role play with in the team. Um, because that's definitely helped a lot. Like confidence for sure, communication for sure. But there is definitely something to be said about memorizing a script. So that way you're like really lethal with your confidence paired with skill. And that kind of like is the 1-2 punch right there. That's been like winning it for me lately.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure having that, more confidence and skill during like the presentation, it becomes much simpler for you to get the right price and get it at the right commission, which we know is huge, right? Like a lot of people, they don't see the big picture. We are the ones bringing the inventory on the market, but then we also have to put it at the right price and the right commission, because if it's too high and a low commission, then the buyer's agent doesn't get paid, the property doesn't sell, and nothing happens, right? So there's like so much put onto that, and I think a lot of people take that for granted because you go in and you get it and you make it seem like it's easy, but they don't realize that that's the first domino that then lets all the other dominoes fall, right?
Yeah.
And I think that also has to do with, keeping the market flowing. Like I think it has a lot of ramifications if people start messing that part up, right?
Yeah.
Because then homes aren't selling, things are sitting on the market longer, the perception of the market goes down. Maybe I'm kind of over analyzing it, but that's how I see it. So for me, the whole listing aspect of it and the skills, I take it as an even bigger duty and obligation, because I'm like, dude, we have like a duty to fulfill here. Like the market literally rests on our abilities. I don't want this market to go bad because I couldn't be convincing enough to the seller, and something as simple as being firm with them and not buckling and not backtracking and not giving up and saying, no, this is the price, dude. Like, let me explain it again, and holding firm or walking, which I know 99% of our industry will never do. Have you ever, and that's a question I can roll into, have you ever walked from a presentation or a client?
Yeah, I just did recently, honestly. So, and we re-met and renegotiated to my terms. So what ended up happening was, and that was something that I was hoping you would ask, because I was going to say that too. That's something that I would not fucking dare to do 12 months ago, because, literally the first listing that I took was from cold calling. And when she mentioned interviewing other agents, and she mentioned, I need the person to get it sold this time of year, there was a lot of things in my mind that was like, fuck, dude, if I have to reduce my commission, I'm doing it. Like I'm getting like, I need this commission. I need, like, it was that mentality of like, I want my first one. I'll do anything for it. And now where I'm at, like today. So the funny thing is that that client and I talked today still, and she wanted me to overprice the home. And although we ended up agreeing to a price that was still, in my opinion, overpriced, it wasn't nearly as overpriced as what it would have been. So, long story short, she wanted to list it for like 390. We ended up listing for 379. And it was still overpriced, and they had to beat the price down. But since then, we've talked, and she knows that I was accurate. She knows that we overpriced the home. She knows that, you know, this, and this. And after the transaction was over, you know, she knows that I'm worth 6%. And, you know, that's for damn sure. And that's one thing that stuck with me. I wanted to prove to her so bad that I was worth 6%, that I worked my ass off for her in that transaction. And you can ask Paula, you know, I did way too much for this client. You'd be pissed. I spent way too much time over there. But since then, I'm very confident in my ability to produce the results that I'm telling them that it will produce. Just from my brief track record over the last 12 months of listing homes, negotiating multiple offers, negotiating terms, over asking price, and knowing now that the town that I'm in is having, not so much that it's like slowing down, but we are seeing less offers per listing. We are seeing, you know, the prices not go as high. We are seeing less competition. So in a market that we're seeing small signs of, you know, decrease or not, or just, I guess, like reduced appreciation, it's even more important to be firm on those details. Because like you said, though, as the market's shifting, we don't want to be the thing that like spins it even further that direction. So that's where pricing is effective. And then commission, obviously, always effective. But pricing is like the most firm thing that I'm sticking with lately.
Yeah, absolutely. And basically, it's going from a market that's extremely ridiculous to just slightly ridiculous. You know, it's been the reduction.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So even though it's still crazy, I mean, a year ago it was bonkers here.
Yeah.
So
Right, man. Well, cool, man. Thanks for coming on. I'm sure we'll do a third episode. Is maybe the next episode. It's like, hey, how I took 10 listings in one day or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, kind of sounds like that's where you're headed.
Yeah, honestly, dude. So I was telling Craig, I fully intend on having, my goal is to get another listing next week, and then 2 more before December. So I'm really going to be pushing hard to try and get a couple more locked in before December and have 6 for the month. And that would be really awesome. So I'm going to push for that for sure. The 4th one is going to come on Tuesday afternoon. So I'll let you know when I get that one.
Awesome, man. Are you gonna come down for the primal code or no?
Yeah, so that's actually the plan. That's why I came up to Illinois earlier on. So that way I had like freed up time later on in the week. So yeah, that's the plan. When I get back on Tuesday, appointment Tuesday afternoon, and then ideally heading down middle of the week.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. You'll love the office too. You can even get some work done there. We're all set up.
Yeah, and the Porsche is there too. So just saying.
Take it out for a spin. There we go. Cool. All right, man. Thanks for coming on. No, we can have you if you want to shout out your Instagram, your social media, or anything you're doing, you know.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Instagram. It's at Wilson Drew FL. Anything there, really. I post a lot of stuff about like my day-to-day real estate, as well as in the gym, and a lot of pictures and videos of like what I'm eating. So I'm like super eating clean and prospecting a lot. So if you guys want to follow me, hit me up there.
Oh yeah. Or if any of you listening are in Lakeland and you want to get on the Stairmaster with this man, you're welcome to join him to keep him company.
Yeah, if you got it in you.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate everybody. Shout out to Modern Success, Team BC. That's it for Supreme Being. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
I do. Peace.